Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, Jam fam. So today we are going to be doing another podcast. Ro approached me. He said he wanted to do a podcast basically about the current state of Brawl Stars, the past, the present, and the possible future of it. He wanted to do this because we got this huge uptick of people coming into the game, and he just wanted to talk about everything just that Brawl Stars has gone through and what we think might possibly happen. How you doing, Ro? Welcome onto the channel. Again, I know this is like our, fourth podcast, maybe fifth, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's our fourth podcast. Hi, guys. Doing? But yeah, there's a lot to talk about today. A lot of new interesting things in the update and an insight on what we're going to see in the future in Brawl Stars, possibly.
Oh, also, I just wanted to thank you and say thank you for taking time out of your busy 7 upload a day schedule and coming on the show and wanting to talk about this stuff.
I do love doing these podcasts, and yeah, it's a crazy schedule, but the people want it, so
For sure.
Get what people want.
All right, so like I said already, the current state of Brawl Stars, obviously, we got a huge uptick of people coming into the game. I think they said like 10 million either new or returning players to the game. What do you think about that, and what do you think the main reason for everybody coming on to the game all of a sudden is?
Well, first of all, I think it's amazing because we've seen a long downwards trend in Brawl Stars popularity. So seeing that is such a glow of light for a lot of content creators. As to why it happened, I can only think it's this massive change in all the gears and everything. I think a lot of people got fed up with how gears worked, and it was just a little bit confusing for a lot of people, and it's a bit, a bit much, a bit pay to win. But when they saw there's change, three new brawlers, I think it was advertised a lot, and a lot of people were looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think obviously the Gears rework, I know I personally, not because Gears necessarily, but I was just getting burned out of Brawl Stars, and I think Gears was just the camel, or the straw that broke the camel's back, that I just couldn't put up with the game anymore. So I took like 2-3 months off of it. I feel like the game just started getting a little stale, and they reworked Gears and they did a better job with it. I still don't think that's perfect in my opinion, but that's beside the point. We're not talking about that today. But also I think the removal of boxes was obviously a huge factor in people wanting to come. That's a huge change to the game. It guarantees you what brawler you want to get. So now if you want to get a legendary, you're not going to end up getting Meg if you don't want her or something like that. And obviously when you get big news articles like Kotaku writing stuff about your game, because I did see a Kotaku article about the box removal and stuff, that's obviously going to generate a lot of attention for your game and stuff.
Yeah, I think people thought a lot of the things with boxes when they're opening was quite rigged, and in a sense it's sort of gambling with your money that you put in to try to get a brawler, whereas now it's guaranteed, and people always want Leon or something, or Mortis. Now they can guarantee that's the next brawler that they're going to pick, which is great to do.
Yeah, like I said, you're not going to get stuck with like Meg or Mr. P or whatever, whether you don't want them or not. Do you think that this growth can last? Do you think that they're gonna keep riding this high and that we're just gonna keep going up, or do you think it's gonna fall back down eventually?
I think it's gonna go slowly back down. It's good that we've got the new season, because every time there's a new season, if you look at Brawl Stars popularity graph, it gives it a little spike. I'm hoping that it'll sort of stay around about stable for a bit, but it's inevitable. It will start dropping again unless they bring out something that is properly game-changing rather than just a couple brawlers.
Yeah, I agree. You can't fall back onto your laurels and just do pass updates and release brawlers nonstop. Like I said, they did a good job with the gear rework, and obviously the box removal. Those two things right there are, the gear rework is going to get old people interested. The box removal is going to get new people interested. But once you hit a certain point in the game, if you're an old player, the gear rework is only going to take you so far. And if you're a new player, after you unlock a couple brawlers and you kind of get bored of the game, you're going to leave. So unless they add something new and exciting, I don't think the growth's going to last. So are there any things that you would like to see them keep going with, like add to the game? We could talk about this way more because we do want to talk about the futures, but is there any like broad stroke things you'd like to see them add to keep the growth going? Or is there anything you want to see them avoid to try to stop killing the game, or possibly kill the game, I should say?
I think they should stop with all the extra currencies, if I'm honest, because we've got star points, we've got gems, we've got coins, we had gear tokens, which thankfully have now been replaced, and then we've got club coins. There's just so many currencies, and I think there really doesn't need to be that many. They've done a good job with the gears of making it the same as upgrading a brawler. For new players especially, it can be quite overwhelming not knowing what each of these things does. So I think if they add in another currency at any point, I think it's going to be more of an L than an actual use to people.
Yeah.
As for what I'd want them to add, to be honest, I think they need to add something unique that they've never added before. Something that, not just a different brawler ability, not just a different type of game mode, but a whole new idea in itself, which is a big ask. But there needs to be something incredibly unique for them to take this game far.
Yeah, that's a big ask. I don't know exactly what they would do, like adding like something super unique. Maybe a bigger game mode, or like maybe like a 5v5 mode or something like that. I doubt we'll ever see that, but I feel like that would be a big thing to try to push it more towards the MOBA scene as opposed to just like this mobile light type that they try to play. I agree. I think that actually condensing stuff like star points into like coins and stuff would actually be hugely beneficial, because I feel like you said there was too many currencies, especially when they released gears, because they added 2 other currencies with that. I feel like condensing all that stuff would simplify the game a little bit more, streamline it a bit. Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points you said there. Yeah. So let's talk about the past a little bit. So obviously you and I are both early game players. I came onto the game for the most part like at global release. I took a little break when Rosa came out. I came back in the Brawler days of 2019. I know you basically were a day one global player, and you pretty much have played more or less solid up until about this year. What is your favorite thing about Brawl Stars that like really got you hooked into the game?
I think, to be honest, it was the simplified cartoon style of all the brawlers, right? A lot of games had very almost realistic visuals with how shots were and everything, but it felt nice and almost soft and smooth playing the game at first. Being able to play a battle royale game on your phone is just totally unique. I mean, like when they brought out COD and stuff and PUBG to mobile, it was good, but it's just so hard to look around compared to PC, whereas it's actually better playing Brawl Stars than if you're trying to, do it with BlueStacks or something.
Right, doing the top-down view and everything like that works really well. Yeah, I agree. The gameplay loop is just so satisfying. Like when you get into a game, you drag your cursor up, you get your aim and ridicule. Just simplifying it that much just makes it like super enjoyable. It's guaranteed to be a good experience. And also, like you said, the cartoon style. I love the art style of the game for the most part. There's a couple of brawlers here and there that I don't really love, but I think that like between the art style, the vibe of the game, like with music and everything, and then just the simplification of the gameplay and all the game modes, and the fact that, like I said, it's a mobile light game. Like I've always liked MOBA games, but I could never sit for a half hour, 45 minutes for one match. And the fact that Brawl Stars, you get in, you get out, you're done with a match at most lasts, 6 minutes in, 5 minutes in like Bounty or something like that.
That's the thing. When Clash Royale came out, everyone was exactly the same. They were, this is a game you can play, as Malt would say, it's a game you can play while you're sitting on the toilet,
Yep.
Perfect length for just hop on, quick game, don't need to be stuck in it, trying to focus constantly. And I don't know, it's always felt like such a clean game to play.
For sure.
And it targets all age groups and all levels of expertise of the game, because you start off and it's perfectly based with your trophies. You're going to be going against other people that are always within around about 50 trophies of your actual brawler, which, if you're just starting out, is absolutely amazing, because you're not going to be going against some pro level players, which in a lot of games actually happens. And I think it's so good because you can gradually increase skill level, and because there's so many trophies that you can get, skill levels are so widely spread out. You're never gonna be struggling at 300 trophies, whereas if you are gonna start struggle to more towards the 800s, then 900s. But you can have fun and enjoy the game, and play for like an hour or two and still not face anyone that's way too high for your level.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I think that's another thing, that it appeals to like all ages and skill levels, like you said, and like the way just the progression works, that really they do a decent job with that. Obviously, people are always going to complain about matchmaking. There's always going to be random games when you're like sitting in the queue for a while and you end up getting queued up against brawlers that are like 200 trophies over you. That's happened to me many times, especially like late at night and stuff. But for the most part, they do a really good job with that stuff. Do you have any like early game memories that you really like still cherish about the game? Because I personally do. I remember back before like early days of Brawl, it was actually really hard to push your brawlers up to 500. Like rank 20 was the goal for like every single brawler. Like if you could get every brawler to 500 trophies, you were pretty decent, because the way the trophy scaling worked back in the day. So I remember I got Jessie to power 9 and I had her at like 350 trophies, which was about where like average players would be. And I grinded for like 3 days to get her up to 500. And that grind is like kind of the main thing that made me fall in love with Brawl Stars. I didn't even like Jessie, but I just had so much fun doing that.
Yeah, because wasn't the trophy progression system something like 3 to 6 trophies or something that you won from like a Brawl match now, whereas now it's like 8. I remember when they changed that.
Yep.
It was quite a big change.
If I remember right, basically what happened was like it was the normal progression system that we have right now, but when you hit 300, it acted more like 700 trophies, where your trophy started skewing a little more towards if you lose more trophies.
300 was essentially sort of 600. So it's interesting because actually rank 15 was the highest rank for when the game was released, I'm pretty sure. And then when Global was released, it was changed to 20, and then ever since it's kept on going up.
Yep.
Recently, which obviously now it's been at rank 35 for what must be 2 and a bit years, I think. It's been rank 35.
Yeah, they haven't added anything further.
Yeah, it was quite interesting considering a lot of people are getting like Brawlers about 3,000 now, which is absurd.
8-week seasons will do that, man. Anyway, do you have any like any of those early game memories, or do you just like?
I think my biggest one has to be 2 things. One, being able to shoot the ball and not use ammo, and the second one is spawning behind the goals. That is such a different change. I kind of miss it, if I'm honest.
I remember those days when you spawn behind the goals, and they didn't keep it in global for too long. I want to say it was only about a month that we had to deal with that problem. But getting team wiped was the worst feeling because you knew they were going to score. Like there's nothing you could do. You would have to run around the goal to try to save it, and like there's nothing you can do. So that there were some maps that I really loved, but there were some maps that was just like terrible. Another thing, this is actually bringing back a really good old memory for me, was there used to be Brawl Ball maps with water, and you'd be able to kick the ball onto the water and stall the game out.
You know, that was actually about 4 or 5 months, I think, after global release. Maybe a bit longer, but it wasn't for very long, that was for sure. It's a shame, really, because there was a glitch where it was stuck on the water. Then they changed it so that the ball would eventually roll off on it by itself off the water. But then they just got rid of it, and we've never seen it since, which is a bit odd, actually.
Thank God.
I wonder if they'll ever do something like that in the future.
Thank God, because honestly, I felt like that was just like a really toxic strategy. Like you get one goal and then you would just stall the game out the entire time. I feel like that's a very unfun way of playing it. So I'm glad they got rid of that personally.
We could counteract that in today's Brawl Stars.
Oh yeah, Eve's the one brawler that can do that. So on those maps you'd have to bring in Eve to stop that from happening. Over the years we've seen a lot of good modes come and go. Obviously there's things like Wipeout, Payload, Hunters, Takedown, Lone Star. What is your favorite modes that they've tried, and what's your least favorite mode that they've tried?
I'll do my favorite 2 modes that stick out the most for me. Firstly, Takedown, taking down that boss, getting all those cubes, was so much fun, right? Because first of all, there's multiple strats. You can either work with everyone that's in the lobby to try to take down the boss, or you can be taking out other people to then try to get as many power cubes as possible to then kill the boss the most yourself. So there's a lot of tactics depending on what lobby you're in, right? There's no actual rule. It's take down the boss, that's the end goal. If you do that, you've won, you know. I always found that one quite fun, doing challenges like that with getting like 100 power key Piper and then just shooting the bot down 3 shots. That was fun. The best mode for me though, and I think for the best for a lot of people when you don't have anyone to play with, has to be Showdown Plus, because getting those trophy bonuses every kill you have, it made people a lot more wary of teaming. People still did it sometimes, but only at very high levels. And you get rewarded so much for doing well in the game rather than just hiding in a bush. I'm weird.
Why you gotta call her out like that?
40k as well. It's ridiculous.
I agree. Showdown Plus was a good addition to the game. I'm personally not a Showdown player, so I never really touched it, but I know a lot of people received it really well. For me, my favorite modes that got added were Wipeout. I love Wipeout. I think it's the best mode they've ever added because it's so simplified. It's just team deathmatch. And first team to 10 kills wins, or whatever it was. I like I said, it's just fun. Like, it's just team deathmatch. You run in, you get your kills, and the matches were really quick. So you could get, like, another thing that, like I said earlier, you get in, you get out, you get your games done. I just always enjoyed that. Plus, the meta was, like, at the time, was always very diverse. You could play tanks on some maps. You could play range brawlers on others. You could play throwers. Like, as long as you knew how to play your brawler and you weren't being too aggressive, you could make them work in that mode. So Wipeout, I've always enjoyed playing. And then my other favorite mode, and while I'm not personally a duels player, I think duels was one of the best additions to the game because it's another solo mode, but you don't have to deal with teaming. And it is the only like true 1v1 skill mode that actually exists. Like we have Paradise, Purple Paradise in friendly matches, so you can do 1v1s there. But as far as like a skill mode, it's like for trophies and stuff, that's the only one we really have. I would say Showdown is that, but also teaming exists in Showdown, so you can't really call it a skill mode anymore. Yeah. It's more about like luck of the draw. Like, am I going to get people who are actually going to team with me, or am I going to get backstabbers, or am I just going to get 9v1'd?
What I'm really interested in is how many of these modes have actually stayed in the game, even though they've been really good. And I just want to know why so many of them have gone, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. There's, like I said, like we didn't really mention worst modes, but I think we can all agree, like Lone Star was kind of bad. Payload was kind of bad. Siege obviously never, it was forced onto us, and I made a whole video talking about it, but I think they botched Siege's introduction in the entire game, and it ended just souring people on it. But I agree, there's a lot of good modes that have come and gone, and they don't really stick around, and it's something that I've complained about a lot. So like President Plunder, that comes back every season. I understand that that's kind of like a seasonal mode, so like it comes in, but you could like if you really wanted to, you could just rebrand it as Capture the Flag, and it would still work, because that's what it is. It's Capture the Flag, just with a skin. But then there's also, like, Basket Brawl. People love Basket Brawl. That doesn't stick around. Then, like I said, I love Wipeout. You liked Showdown Plus, which objectively was probably the fix. Not the best fix, but it was a fix to teaming a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. And I personally wasn't a fan of Basket Brawl, but it was unique in the fact that it was the only mode, 3v3 mode, that was sideways across the screen rather than horizontal. Vertical rather. It was very odd in that way, so I'm not sure if I personally liked it, but I know a load of people always played that mode.
All right, let's move on to the next thing that I want to talk about from the past of Brawl Stars, and then we'll move on to just this update stuff about how everything landed for the update. But real quick, what's the best big change that they made to the game, and what's the worst change that they made to the game?
Honestly, the best change that they've made to the game is the Brawl Pass, because it's helped free-to-play players so much. I was free-to-play in Brawl Stars for about a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years, and it was so difficult to actually get new brawlers and upgrade them. And the common thing that people do is just buying every second Brawl Pass, which most of the time would get you the brawlers that you missed from the previous pass. So for me, that's probably the best thing that they added to the game. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. The Brawl Pass was a very big thing added to the game, and I think it's super generous that they let free-to-play players still get the Brawl Pass by giving them gems like periodically to make sure they can buy every other one. There's a lot of games that the pass is only paid for by cash, so free-to-play players will never have access to it. For me, the best thing they added was probably gadgets. I feel like gadgets really shook up the entire game and made it like a lot more diverse gameplay. So, and it gives you build diversity. So you think of like a brawler like Crow off the top of your head, or off the top of my head, like Crow has a build where he can run a shield, so he can be a lot more aggressive and jump on people and pop his shield when he lands. Or he's got the slow, which is a lot more team support, where you poison everybody you can, hit the slow, and then they can't move, and it's basically free kills if they're out in the open when you get them stuck. So I think like adding gadgets to the game just changed gameplay up so much.
Yeah, I agree, and I really liked gadgets. I was a bit hesitant at first, obviously having this new almost ability when Brawl Stars had already been out for, what was it, 3 years globally or something?
I think it was 2 years when they released gadgets.
Yeah, 2 years. But I was certainly a lot more happy towards it than I was Gears, but I'll get into that in a bit. Yeah, gadgets were good, but one thing that I really didn't like that they got rid of, and it was purely for their sake, for them getting more money, that was removing gems from boxes.
Yes.
That was honestly, that's probably the worst thing they could have done. If they'd left gems inside of boxes and they had the Brawl Pass in the game, we've got maybe an extra 25 gems, which means that you could probably get one out of 2 months, 1 out of 2, and then 2 out of 2 months.
Right.
You'd have, like 4 out of 6 instead of 3 out of 6 Brawl Passes. I don't see how that would really harm them as much, apart from the fact that they want to just make more money from people.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's the biggest thing that they've done. That's really bad. And then obviously this doesn't matter, so I'm going to change my answer about the worst thing they did to the game. But when they capped legendary rates on out of boxes, I feel like those two changes were like the most greedy things they could have done. And like, sure, they're a business, they need to make money, so I understand, but I'm not gonna not say that's a good thing. Or you know what I mean? I'm not gonna disagree and say that was good for the game. And then I think the other thing that I never really enjoyed them doing was the Brawl Ball ammo change. I get that they wanted to kind of remove stalemates from like spawn wipes and shit like that, because like I said, like you get spawn wiped, you'd have everybody would respawn with all their ammo, and then you just get stuck in this stalemate where you know, the other team can't score because you keep respawning, and you can't get out of the spawn trap because they're just sitting there waiting for you to respawn, and once your shield comes down, you get lit up. So like that was like the best solution. And they did botch it by making people initially by making you spawn with 0 ammo, then they changed it to 1 ammo. But all the same, I still don't like the change. I think it's still, you still get stuck in those stalemates all the time, and I think it's just like, I don't know, it made the game mode less, it made Brawl Ball less fun for me. Even though I still play Brawl Ball, it's still something I have to deal with.
Yeah, it's a little bit less fast-paced, not having the ammo when you respawn. I wouldn't mind if it was 2 ammo, but when they first did it, getting rid of all of your ammo when you respawned was just, felt so slow. You couldn't do anything, you sort of had to wait a few seconds. Because obviously when you load into the very start of the match or after you score, you have full ammo. You think when you respawn, you're back to full HP, you'll have full ammo, but I don't know, they decided to get rid of that for some reason.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the saying of people getting spawn wiped, but I just think people need to be more, should have just been more sort of cautious of knowing that and played it more tactfully. I didn't think that Brawl Stars needed to do that. I think people would eventually evolve to understand it, but it was obviously a change they thought they needed to make, and it's in the game now, and no one really complains about it because we're all used to it.
Right.
Whether it's a good thing or not, you know, it's very personally objective, but
yep.
yeah, I wouldn't mind if it was 2.
So I think we're done with the past of Brawl Stars. Let's talk about this current update, where we currently are with the game right now. So overall, how did this update land for you? Are you a huge fan of it? Do you think it's the best update ever, or do you like? Is there too much negative stuff, and you're not really really enjoying it as much as other people are?
I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as other people are. I think it's a really good update. It's probably better than their summer update, because that was supposed to be their big update, wasn't it? I can't even remember what they released. It wasn't anything special, though, which, you know, after they have their summer break, or no, right before their summer break rather, they're supposed to release this massive update every year, and it always lands so well so they can keep the game going until when they get back. This year wasn't like that at all. I feel like this was more of our summer update, which is weird considering it was around Christmas time. But I think there's a few new things which I like. The Brawlers not so much though. But yeah, all the things this update have been alright. Previously, what was about 1 update ago, it's kind of recent I suppose for me because I just came back from break. Those coins from all the gears and everything, having all those coins was nice actually.
Log in and you get 100,000 coins.
Yeah. Exactly. That I like loading into that. But this update has been alright for me. It's probably more like a 7 out of 10, whereas a lot of people would find it like a 9 out of 10 game.
Yeah, for me, I'd say about the same. I think it's like a 7.5 out of 10 for me. I do like, we'll talk about all this stuff in like more specifics, but real quick in broad strokes, I like the box removal. I think it's good for new players specifically. I don't think it's great for us veteran players or people who have more brawlers unlocked.
Yeah.
I think that the brawlers are a little too much on the strong side. They're grinding my gears a little bit after whatever weeks of dealing with them now. And then overall, I do think the game is moving in a positive direction, especially after the rework of gears. I think that when you lump this update in with the rework of gears, I think the game is in a lot better spot than it was at the beginning of the year. Let's move on to the brawlers. So we'll talk about specifics about the brawlers. Do you want to start with Gray or Chester first?
We'll start with Chester, because I think that's more of a very controversial opinion on him. I hate Chester. in short, I hate him.
Fair enough.
He's nice to play. I actually hate going against him. He's got this super, if you guys don't know or haven't played the game, he's got a super that has 4 different abilities that he randomly gets, apart from when you respawn, which is always the bomb super, that you randomly get, that you sort of cycle through whatever. and the enemy doesn't know what super they're gonna have. So first of all, that leaves it down to a bit of chance. I hate chance in games. I like fairness. I like knowing how to counter things. And I don't. How am I supposed to know how to counter something that I don't know is even gonna happen? It's like loading into a match for me and having a question mark over a brawler and not being able to see what brawler they are. Because it is fine if Chester's abilities were somewhat similar, it's fine, but they're not. He's got a crazily overpowered stun that lasts 2 seconds or something ridiculous. He's got a bomb that can break walls. He's got a poison, and he's got a sort of like a Lou kind of type thing where it makes people slide around and slow them down or something. Those are so diverse that it makes them a unique brawler, but an absolutely horrible brawler to face.
You forgot the heal too, but he's also got a heal. Yes.
He's got 5 supers.
Hot take.
What is that?
Hot take. I think Chester is not a good brawler. I think he's being hard carried by his main attack damage. I actually like Chester. I like his design. I like his character. I think he's really funny. He's got a lot of funny voice lines, and he is fun to play. But I think that his supers are not, for the most part, they're not very good. The stun's really good. I'm really bad with it. I have major skill issues with it. The bomb is really useful because he likes to have really open maps, so that's really good. But the spray, the poison cloud, that one has like too short of range to be like really effective all the time. The slow is almost never useful because people don't get really close to him because he has too much burst damage. And then the heal almost never comes up in the rotation, so like you almost never rely on the heal, so that's probably why you forgot about it. But
yeah, I noticed that actually the heal for some reason it's definitely rigged, because I noticed that as well, and Kev Boy when he was playing it, we noticed that every match you get maybe 1 heal, whereas you get about 2 or 3 of each of the others.
Yep.
So I'd like to see what Brawl Stars has to say about what the chances of getting each one of those are.
Yeah, so like I said, like Chester's supers are range from really good to pretty bad or just like non-existent. And when you have a super like that, you can't rely on that to actually do well in a match. And like I said, I personally think that Chester's being hard carried by the stupid damage that he can output, and his highest burst rotation is 9,000 damage, which kills Frank without the sponge star power. That's just a stupid amount of damage. When they do that, it's gonna skew everything to look better than it really is. So if they bring his damage down to like realistic numbers that aren't so far outside of the range of everything else, then you can't rely on a super, and he's not gonna be nearly as good. So that's like my major gripe with Chester, is that everyone puts him up to be the best brawler or one of the best brawlers in the game right now, but they're not looking about why. And I think that he's just if his damage gets nerfed, then he's like gonna be not next to useless. He'll still have his niches and stuff like that, but he's not gonna be nearly as good. You're not gonna look at him like a top 10, top 5 brawler.
Yeah, no, his damage is insane. The only thing I actually like, and I would have loved if they just left him at this, is his 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4 shot. That is a unique ability in itself. I don't think they needed to add a unique super. I wouldn't have minded if it was just his bomb that was thrown. Well, that was his super, that's it.
Right.
I've been quite happy as a brawler if that was what he was. But like you're saying, as soon as he gets that damage nerf, which is gonna happen, knowing Brawl Stars, he's probably gonna get like a 300 HP nerf and like a 200 per shot nerf as well, and then he's gonna feel like he's totally useless.
I do think there are things they could do to Chester to make him a lot more like stable and make him a lot more useful, but as of right now, he definitely needs nerfs, like emergency nerfs, and they should have done this a while ago. So for Gray, I don't think Gray is amazing. I like Gray. I haven't really played him too much personally, but I played with a lot of Grays. I played a lot against a lot of Grays. And the only thing I really don't like about Gray is the teleport pad. I get really annoyed by it because it's like, as soon as I step on it, I teleport in the wrong spot. And like a lot of times I don't want to move like to where that goes. So like I'll accidentally step on it and then it's like instantly I'm over on the other side of the map and my whole like mental game plan gets thrown off.
Yeah, I land up walking into Gray supers all the time without even seeing them there, because the problem is they're in bushes as well. And when they're in bushes, I can very, very rarely see them, and I land up, going for Mortis play, and suddenly I'm dashing into this teleport and I'm throwing it all the way across the map, like you're saying. And it's a bit annoying. But as a whole, for Gray for me, I think I'm actually really happy, right? Because if you look at all the brawlers that have been released, Janet, Bonnie, all of these brawlers we've had recently, who else do we have last season? Sam, whatever.
Buster.
Buster, they've all been ridiculously overpowered when release. Gray isn't. I think Gray is the closest thing to a balanced brawler that we've had released in this game for well over a year.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't get quite as annoyed with Gray overall, is because he's actually balanced other than his teleport. I think maybe that's why I don't feel like as annoyed with Gray as I do with Chester, because I'm not scared of Gray. I'm just annoyed by him.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of things that there is that I don't like about Gray, but like you said, I think it's just because he's actually balanced. His shot is too slow and you can't really see it very well. It kind of reminds me of when like Nita or Bo was before their changes, where their shots were sort of half invisible in a way, you know, like not very clear attack animations. To me, Gray kind of feels like that. And his teleport obviously just annoys me.
But for the most part, I think Gray is a decent brawler. I don't think he's amazing. I think, like you said, I think he's balanced, and that's probably why I don't really think much about him. Which I guess it kind of like speaks to the fact that like we're so used to brawlers just being super OP and super in your face that when it actually comes out to be balanced, we don't really think about them. But let's move on. So the big elephant in the room, box removals. What do you think about that?
Very sad, if I'm honest. I was just going onto YouTube not long ago, and I'm looking at I searched that Brawl Stars box openings because I know for a fact them not being there is gonna harm the game so much. Because if we look through down the list of these videos, all of them get millions and millions and millions of views. People love to see crazy box openings and stuff. There's like channels dedicated just to making box openings, like Redfire and stuff like that. And the anticipation of trying to get something is such a nice feeling, and when we finally see that number flashing, it's so good to see. But then removing it kind of makes me really sad, because as a content creator myself, I would make lucky box openings and stuff, which for me even got a few million views.
Right.
But now that's not going to be there anymore, and I feel like it's kind of a very sad thing to happen. Whereas realistically, it's going to be better for most people. But from a selfish point of view, I'm very, very sad to see them go. Yeah,
I have the exact same mentality, because obviously I've had one major box opening video blow up an entire channel for me. Whether that was for the good or whether that was for good or bad in the long run, we'll that's another discussion. But as a content creator, I did like I've done a you laugh, you lose challenge video where if I lost, I had to open a box. I really like doing that type of video. I've only got a chance to do one of those because I took a break right after releasing that video. So I was hoping to do more of those in the future, and obviously can't do that now. And then, like you said, like there's a whole subsection of Brawl Stars videos that are just box opening videos. Like I think like Chief Pat used to have box opening battles. Like you said, there's a Redfire guy who only does box openings, and that entire section of content is just gone. But outside of like content creation, I think it's healthy for newer players. I think that like I've said many times, being able to choose what brawlers you get makes you more engaged in the game, because you're actually playing characters that you like to play as opposed to players that you're just forced upon, and that gets you more engaged with just continuing to play the game, because you're not like feeling like, oh, now I gotta play I don't know, now I gotta play Gale. I don't like Gale, but I gotta push trophies with him because I need to get my star points. I need to get my trophy count up so I can get more of these rewards. So now, like, if you want to get, I don't know, Mortis as your first mythic brawler, now you actually have control over that. So I think that's really good. It's good to keep newer players engaged. I think where they fell short for sure, though, is chromatic brawlers. That currency system is totally broken in my opinion. They need to nerf down the amount that you need to buy current chromatic brawlers. I don't know how you think about that. You could go ahead and speak on that, and then I'll give you my exact situation that I'm stuck in right now.
I totally agree. I have very many accounts, right? I was going through them, and it's like 2,800 or something chromatic points that you need for a chromatic brawler. It's only really an epic or something. And I'm just looking at it. I got like maybe 100 total from hours and hours of playing. I'm like, how long is this going to take me to catch up with all these chroma credits? And I don't know why they need another currency. I'm getting really wound bummed out by how many currencies there are actually in the game now.
Yeah, I agree. The addition of chroma credits as themselves is not the worst thing in the world, but the way they give them out and the way they're stingy with them is the real problem, in my opinion. So the situation I'm stuck in is that I took off for the SAM season. I didn't buy the Brawl Pass for SAM season. I really didn't play that much. I think I might have played like 2 days on it, and I obviously never finished it and didn't buy the Brawl Pass. And I never got SAM before they removed boxes because I didn't have a ton of boxes saved up because I needed to open boxes to upgrade Brawlers to level 11. So I didn't have boxes saved up, didn't get SAM, and now I'm stuck. It's going to take me 6 months to save up and it's going to take me 4 months to save up the amount of chroma credits to unlock Sam, all because I didn't get lucky before he came out of boxes. And I think keeping players behind the ball like that, it's a slap in the face for your longtime free-to-play players who have most of the brawlers, but they're missing a couple chromatics here and there. Now they're always going to be stuck behind the ball by 3 seasons, which is 6 months before they can actually afford to buy a chromatic brawler, because the way they have it set up, it feels grimy to me. It feels like, and they don't seem like they're ever going to change that idea because Frank said on Twitter something along the lines of, why do free-to-play players feel entitled to all the newest content in the game? And it's like, well, they feel entitled to the new content because they play the game and they're your player base. Like, you should be more supportive of your player base. And to an extent, I do agree with them. Like, if you're the paying players should get access to the new content right away. I agree with that idea. But to keep them behind by 6 months is insane, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the thing. New players look forward to an update so they can have fun with more updated game. Nothing's going to happen in that update for that long amount of time for them. How does that make them feel? They're going to be like so excited. Yay, a brand new update. Oh wait, I have to wait half a year to get access to this new brawler. Yep. What is that about?
Especially when they do those updates where it's just a Brawl Pass and a new brawler. The free-to-play players that don't have all the brawlers, that can't buy that brawler until like 4 months down the road, it's like it's just not fair to them, because that would literally be an update that has no value to them. If you're one of those players that are getting burned out, what is this update going to bring to you that makes you want to keep playing the game?
Yeah, and that's the issue. All those updates recently have just been a couple brawlers. So what? It's the same that's been for years, really. Yeah, 6 months is just ridiculous to me. If I'm honest, I can't believe that. I'm in the position where I'm lucky that I make some money off of Brawl Stars that I can put back into the game so I can continue having fun. But there's so many people out there who are 12, 13, 14, haven't worked a job, can't get access to the money, or the parents won't let them.
Right.
And this is the most fun thing that they do in their life. For me, gaming was the most fun thing I did. Brawl Stars, for me, when I first came to the game, was literally the thing I looked forward to getting on every single morning when I woke up.
Right.
And I just worry that a lot of kids who enjoy the game, who might, want to grow up playing this game, aren't going to, because they're not going to be able to access the content and be like, well, what's the point?
So, you got anything else to add about the box removal, the current credit system, anything like that?
Only that I think that it's very, very unfinished progress. They need to keep on working on it rather than just leave it sitting there like they have done with a lot of things before.
Yeah, I hope they keep tending to it, reworking a couple things here and there. So let's talk about real quick. What do you think the best thing they added to this update? What do you think the worst thing they added in this update was?
The best thing would be probably it's going against what I just said. It's removing the boxes just for a lot of people to be able to access new brawlers. But it's also the worst thing. For me, it's the worst thing. For a lot of new players, it's the best thing. But for my personal opinion, the best thing in this game is balanced brawler. Great.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing to say, but having something balanced makes me actually really happy.
Yeah. Too bad he got released next to a broken brawler.
I know.
I think for me, the best thing is the box removal for newer players. The fact that newer players can like customize their accounts and stuff like that. You get there is a brand of content now coming out where people are starting new accounts and showing that off. So I mean, that kind of, for a little bit, it'll replace box opening videos. Even I wanted to do it, but I haven't actually started one yet. So I think that's cool. And like I said, for newer players, it's a great thing. It's not as good for, I think chroma credits are the downside to that. I think that's the worst thing in the game right now. And then I think the other worst thing for me personally, fame. I think fame is useless. It's just a garbage can for us to throw our useless credits into when you have everything that isn't chromatic unlocked. I think And like we're gonna talk about the future of Brawl Stars, so I'll talk about what I think they should do to address fame. But as of right now, fame is just useless garbage to me.
I agree. Fame is just I don't even understand the point of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Some people who got the glitch are Fame 3. I'm Fame 2 because I didn't get the glitch. So what? What does it matter? What does it relate to? Or
That's another thing that we could talk about being the worst part of this update was that glitch. Now, let's real quick. Let's go on a little side tangent. How do you feel about that glitch? Do you think that they handled it well or no?
No, because the people who got the glitch still got the compensation.
I didn't get compensation. I got the glitch. I didn't get compensation. I didn't even get the full glitch. You know, some people were actually able to unlock the entire trophy road. I wasn't able to do that. My trophy road started at 12,000 trophies, and I was able to claim up to like 20,000 trophies or something like that. I was not able to get the entire thing. I did get Chester day one. I did get Chester day one when I got the glitch, so I'm not like complaining. And everything else would have just went to fame and credits and stuff like that. So like, I really don't care that much, but. For people getting to like what was it like Mars 1 or whatever, Martian 1 in fame, I feel like that's kind of broken.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that did get compensation even though they got the full glitch.
Yep.
They got Chester straight away, and then they managed to get another 1,100 credits, or whatever it was, or the things you need to open up Brawlers with.
That's amazing.
I know, exactly. It's like, but I had to pay 20 quid to get Chester. I'm so mad.
So for me, I think that they didn't handle the fame situation or the trophy road glitch very well. Now, I can understand not giving everyone the full trophy road, but I feel like they should have gave people part of the trophy road and then just released it as like, instead of patching it right away, just let people do it. Like, that's something that doesn't really cost them money in the long run, and they could have spun it as a PR thing, as like saying like, oh look, this wasn't supposed to happen, but since some people got it in this situation, then we're gonna let you guys have it too. I understand like when the Mega Box fiasco happened, like in like what was that, like I don't know, spring or summer or something like that. When the Mega Box fiasco happened, that cost them money directly. That was a financial hit that they needed to patch right away. So like, there's really no excuse for not doing that, right? But for this one, it's like you could have spun this as like a pro free-to-play player thing, especially after you just ruined our chances at getting chromatic brawlers when we want. I know people are going to disagree with me. People are going to be pro Supercell and say like they did the right thing, but there's also a ton of people that think the compensation was not good. It wasn't fair to a lot of people. So all right, now we're moving into our final section of the podcast. We're going to talk about the future of Brawl Stars, what we would like to see coming in this next year or so, and even beyond that possibly. And first thing I want to talk about, do you think that the Brawler release schedule they're on right now is sustainable? Do you think that the way we get Brawlers, I think like they do 6 passes a year, so that's 6 Brawlers plus rares and super rares, which I feel like they actually need to release more of with this new credit system. Do you think that would be sustainable for very long?
No, I don't think so. I think there's got to be a point where the brawlers they're releasing are so similar to each other, and also the fact that there's going to be so many brawlers in the game, people aren't going to want to try and lock them all. Seeing the game have over 100 brawlers when we started, it was like 17, 18. It's just, I don't like the looks of it. It's a lot of time for people who may not only have like 30 minutes a day to play the game. I'm trying to, get all these brawlers up to a level where you don't reset too far down again is such a grind, and I feel like it's going to be more of a hassle to do rather than enjoyment.
So I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that the release cadence of brawlers, when you want to do chromatics and non-chromatic brawlers all like grouped together, I feel like that's going to just cause the entire market to just get flooded. Like I said, I do feel like they do need to release more brawlers that aren't just chromatic, because you hyped up this big rework to it, and then you're only going to release 2 non-chromatic brawlers for the rest of the year. That doesn't make sense to me, at least for this year. I don't know about into the future. Maybe they don't do that many like non-chromatic brawlers, but I feel like after a certain point, they're going to have to fall back just to chromatic brawlers, which isn't going to be healthy for the game, because it's going to keep free-to-play players behind by 6 months almost every single time they release a new brawler, which I think is absurd. And then on top of that, you're going to have brawlers, like you said, that are just copying mechanics from, which we already are kind of seeing to an extent, but you're going to have brawlers that are copying mechanics so much to the point where they feel like almost the exact same brawler. So that's not going to be good for the game either.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And the fact is that like you're saying, we already have brawlers in the game. Mandy to me is very, very similar. The only thing different is that when she stops, she can shoot a little bit further. About her shot, we've already got so many snipers in game that are very similar attacks. We've got Piper, we've got Bee, we've got Colt, we've got Brock, we've got Belle. You know, they're all so similar to me, and I don't see why there's a need to keep on releasing brawlers. I'd much rather they release more unique things, like you're saying, game modes. They're actually unique, not just another way you can score a ball, not just another way you can kill people.
I think my biggest gripe about Mandy, when she comes out, is that she is the third Brawl Pass brawler that it's a sniper, and I think that's super annoying and very lazy. Like, you have Belle, you have Eve, and now you have Mandy, and they all do very, very similar things, except for outside of their supers, right? So it's like, I feel like they're getting very. I feel like we either get tanks or we get snipers out of the Brawl Pass, and we never see anything else other than that.
Another thing is we have how many, like 15 chromatics or something already in the game?
Mm-hmm.
How weird is it going to be scrolling through your brawlers and seeing half of them have a chromatic background on the back of them?
Right. And like I said, it's not just it's not healthy for the game because of the way they've changed how you unlock your chromatic brawlers. I guess overall, I'm trying to say that like I don't think the brawler release cadence is sustainable. I think after you get to about 100 brawlers, I would hope that after we get to 100 brawlers, they slow down a little bit. But then it's like, what do they do with the Brawl Pass after that? Because if they don't want to release too many more brawlers, you can't keep putting brawlers in the Brawl Pass because that's just going to keep your release cadence keep going, right?
Yeah, I'm not very, if I'm very honest, I'm not hopeful for the future of this game. After, in like 2 years time, we're gonna be not far off, maybe 3 years time, we'll not be far off like 90 brawlers. Then they're gonna have to do something to Brawl Pass, so it's just gonna keep on going. People are gonna get more fed up, they're gonna start quitting the game, and it's just gonna be a continuous downwards trend.
Let's move on for brawlers. What would you like to see them add to the game to try to shake it up? Whether that's gameplay, whether that's mechanics, like what would be a big shake up to you?
So I was actually thinking earlier, you know how we have these showdown modifiers, right? I'm not sure how much showdown you actually play, but we've got the meteor, we've got the mushrooms, we've got the bots that spawns, although we don't really have a couple of those anymore. I was thinking, why not have things like sinkholes where you randomly get pulled in, you know, like a warning sign over like a little circle area, and then if you walk towards it, you get pulled into the center of it, kind of like Tara's super, but it lasts for a few seconds.
Oof.
I'd like to see something like that. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same as if you get hit by a meteor, it's 2,000 damage or something.
True.
1,000 damage. I would also like to see, you know how we've got water in a lot of these maps? I would like to see a temporary bridge appear once every 10 seconds that you can sort of walk over the water. Because I find a lot of the time you'll get trapped outside the water, like in Acid Lakes, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be called 1,000 Lakes or something. Where a lot of people just sit in the middle, they have the control. What if you have this bridge that you can sort of walk over and try ambush them? I would like to see something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a really cool mechanic. Actually, I could see them doing something like either another brawler that's like ice themed doing something like that for like their super, or adding that as a feature to lose like main shot or something where he can freeze over the water and make a bridge. I think that would be a cool mechanic. For me, I think that so like obviously duels is being added permanent, and I think that's a great change for the game, like I talked about earlier. But I think that they need to add more permanent modes to the game, whether that's like rotating things in and out, or whether that's like just keeping them solid all the time. That's like remain to be seen. But I am so sick of playing the same 4 or 5 game modes and playing on the exact same 5 maps that it's like I would like to see some more variety. So like main thing, like I said, like adding more modes. So like make basketball, wipeout, and maybe something like entirely new added to the game permanently. And then, like I said, maps. Like we have been playing. You realize there's some maps from day 1 global release that are still in the game, like Gem Fort, like Super Stadium is a super old map. That's not from day 1 release. That's from the Jackie update. But Super Stadium, that's another really old map. There are maps that have been in this game for 3 years now, and that still haven't been cycled out. And I understand that like it's hard to make maps for the devs, and they wanted Map Maker to kind of replace to kind of take that job off of them and put that on the community. But obviously Map Maker flopped in that regard.
Yeah.
So like ever since then they kind of like put maps on the wayside. But I would love to see them change maps up very, very soon.
Yeah, I would love to see a lot of new maps because I don't think it's really that hard. Pay a few people from the community who are really good map makers to make some properly good 3v3 maps. It's not going to cost that much, and it's going to make the game look so much fresher, I reckon. Because you're going to see new styles of map making that the devs obviously are very, a couple walls here with grass behind them, some space to walk down, and then some walls in front of your goal or something.
Right.
That's a very typical map make. Why does that have to be the typical? Why can't we have something that's totally unique that still is actually viable in a 3v3 game mode?
Right, for sure. And honestly, I don't even think they would need to pay people. If they just gave them a shout out on Twitter and got them some internet clout, I think people would do it for free. Are there like future mechanics or like a currency rework or something like that you would like to see added to the game?
Not currency or mechanics, but going back to a game mode, I had another thought. You were saying before the podcast about a 5v5, right?
Right.
I've just thought of a really nice way to do this. So we have a showdown map. That sort of, space area, so it's not too cramped having 5 people, because that'd be really terrible. Have this showdown map, it's 5v5, you've got a line down the middle, one team spawns on the left hand side, one team spawns on the right. You've got 3 flags on each zone, kind of like zone points, like I don't know if you play Call of Duty or something,
yeah,
where you have to stay in the zone to get a certain amount of points, and then you battle out with each other, you respawn every 15 seconds. If you die, the first team that manages to get all 3 flags before 3 minutes ends, or if you manage, whoever has the most flags when 3 minutes ends is the winning team. But the way it works is that you get 1 point for every time you're in the zone. Then when the enemy go back into that zone, it then goes back down to 0 points, and then their points start going up. Because I reckon something sort of 5v5 hold the zone points or hold the flag would be a really unique kind of new style and feel to the game, where it's really a lot of teamwork needed, and which would be bad for randoms, I suppose, but I think people adapt and get used to it.
Right.
And I think that it's something we haven't really seen. The closest thing to it would be sort of a mix of Hot Zone and Present Plunder.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but in a way that it's a lot bigger scale, because if you think about all these battle royale games, it's mostly 100 players. How bad is it really to change the normal amount of players that we have in a showdown map, but split them into 2?
Right. You're still taking the same lobby, right?
Why haven't we seen that yet?
Right.
Such a viable thing.
I think putting payload on a showdown map and making it a 5v5 would be really good. I think that would be one way to fix payload, is to make it 5v5 and put it on a showdown map. Yeah, and then also instead of doing 2 cards at once, you take turns pushing the card. So like one team has 2 minutes to push it one way, and then the other team has 2 minutes to push it the other way. Like it restarts at the other end, and then you push it, and then whoever has the higher percentage wins the match.
Sounds awesome, actually. I really enjoy playing something like that,
Yep. That's basically how they do it in Overwatch, which is where they kind of rip the idea from. I don't know if other games do it, but that's where I know it from, and that's basically how they do it there. So I think for me personally, the reworks that I would like to see added is that, to me, they killed the daily shop when they did this update, and I'm not a fan of it at all. I know the idea is that like jackpots and stuff are supposed to come up, and it just feels, but on your normal days when you sign in and you get 5 credits, 5 normal credits when you have all the brawlers, and you just, right. Like, even if you don't have all the brawlers, what's 5 normal credits supposed to do for you? Come on. Like, this is garbage. I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly, but the way the daily freebies is set up is just trash. And I would like to see that reworked. I would like to see that reworked.
100% agree.
The other thing is fame. Obviously, like I've already complained, fame is useless. I don't like it. But there's a lot of things they could do to fame to help fix it and make me more of a fan of it. Obviously, the easy thing is to make a fame cosmetic. And honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. They could do a fame cosmetic for every single brawler in the game outside of chromatics, because the idea behind fame is that you can't get it until you have all the brawlers anyway, right? So they could do a fame skin for any brawler in the game. and then you could just, you know, exchange, or when you get to a certain level of fame, you can claim that brawler's fame skin. So then that's another way of customizing your account, making it like, okay, my favorite brawler is Tara, BB, and Carl. So I have the fame skins for Tara, BB, and Carl when I got those. And then you could do different levels too. So like there could be a Martian fame skin, there could be a Lunar fame skin, stuff like that. I think that would be a really cool addition to it. And then the other thing I was thinking is that they could make it so that when you have higher fame, they could buff your daily freebies because of your fame level. Because if you think about it, in the real world, when you're more famous, you get more benefits, right? So like that's another thing that when you have more fame, they could be like, all right, so this guy is Lunar 3, he gets the Lunar 3 fame rewards from the daily freebies.
Being very famous myself, I could relate. No.
Them 100,000 subscribers. Anyway.
Yeah, you know, I totally agree though. I think there needs to be some sort of, it doesn't need to be actual like currency rewards, because we get enough of ways to get those really. I would like some sort of skin thing. I'm very fond of my skins.
Right.
I'm sure you know.
Everybody loves skins, man. Everybody. It's the easy thing to do for fame is just give skins. And like I said, like a fame skin for every single brawler would be amazing in my opinion. Obviously, it's a lot of work. Obviously, a lot of work, and they're not going to receive any money for it. But there are skins that they give us free skins all the time anyway, right?
Oh, I'm just saying that everyone loves skins, really. I don't think anyone's really gonna complain.
Like I said, I would like to see more done with it than just cosmetic stuff, because after a certain point, the cosmetics are going to fall on deaf ears. You know, you can only do so many like sprays, pins, skins, player icons. Yeah. So I would like to see more added to it. That's why I was saying like maybe daily freebies get a buff from your fame level.
No, that'd be good, because like we were saying, they're just terrible. They're not worth even collecting, if I'm honest. I barely ever go onto my other accounts and collect them because I can't be bothered.
All right. Coming up towards the end here, I got a couple more things to talk about. Actually, no, we're on our last thing. Is there anything you want to see them keep doing, or anything you don't want to see them keep doing that might possibly kill the game or make it way better?
I want them to stop bringing so many brawlers. Yeah, 100% slow down the brawler release. And I want them to spend more time, instead of just thinking of ways that they can add another of the same thing, spend more time on making something that's actually unique to the game. The last time we had something properly unique would be a game mode of some sort, because gears to me are just set. Or you actually made a video about it that I watched, are basically just third star powers, and they're like a mix of gadgets and star powers to me. Mm-hmm. And then the Brawl Pass, I think, would have been the most unique thing we've had since. And we just need something. We need something that's going to make everybody happy, as hard as that is. And that's actually going to make the game feel fresh. Because to me, I came back after a break and I'm really enjoying the game. But I know that in a couple months' time, I'm going to be so bored of how stale, repetitive, and just how much of a grind the game is.
For sure. I feel the same way. I do have worries like that too, that I'm just going to burn out of it again. But I mean, like I said, I'm playing different games on stream, and like working on my Hollow Knight videos and stuff like that, which I need to get back to. But I'm trying to prevent myself from burning out like I did before. For me personally, I know they've already talked about this, but I hope that they get the PvE weekend modes reworked and out. And I know they said they wanted to tie a story mode into that, and I think that would add a lot to the game, because it gives you lore to talk about, as well as just more things to do in the game that are actually engaging. Because right now the weekend modes they're not bad, right? Like big game can be fun, but like you can only play Robo Rumble so many times before you actually get like totally bored of it. Like it's the same thing over and over again. They're fun to an extent, but you do them for your rewards, then you don't touch it again. So I would like to see a rework to the PvE modes.
I don't even play them. I don't play the weekend modes at all. And when I'm playing, I'm normally quite active. Like I'll push 500 trophies a day or something. But I'm not touching them unless it's for a video. And I can't imagine the average person what they'd be doing. You know, it's just.
And then the other thing, they said they wanted to add mastery to brawlers. Now, I know some people have seen the leaks and want to talk about that. Obviously, you and I are in the creator program, so we can't talk about leaks outright. But I would like them to do things interesting with the mastery program instead of it just being like currency rewards like gold and power points, because that Clash Royale does it that way, and it just feels kind of lazy to me.
I was just about to say we can sort of reference the Clash Royale mastery to avoid, yeah, Clash Royale mastery. You basically, first of all, takes forever. This is coming from someone who plays Clash Royale every day still. It takes forever to master all your cards. You get a few thousand gold and then some gems, which is barely useful in that game. There'll probably be only like 10 gems that we get from getting the cards or the Brawler mastery up to max level, which is really not very helpful when you put so many hours into it. They need to do something special, if I'm honest. If it's the same rewards that we're getting from everything else, it's gonna feel the same old stale thing, even though it's technically new, in inverted commas.
Right. I don't know exactly what it would be, and I don't know if I'd be exactly happy if it's just like a cosmetic thing or something like that. But just doing anything would be better than just coins and power points, in my opinion. So I'm excited for mastery, but if you expect me to master 60 brawlers just for coins and power points, then you are really underselling, and you're kind of just wasting your time adding this feature to the game, in my opinion.
People are just gonna not bother about actually trying to play that brawler to master the brawler. They're just gonna play the game as they normally would, and hey, they get a few power points. Okay, so what? You know, it's not gonna change how anyone plays the game. For sure.
All right, well, that's all I got. You got anything else to add at the end of the podcast here, Ro?
Just that I really hope that the Supercell devs have a real good look at the game, and we need to, as content creators and you guys who are watching all these videos, we need to try have a very strong community around the game, because it's very easy for a game to lose their community and then just fall off completely.
Sure.
I find that really sad for that to happen, if I'm honest, because it's my favorite game that I've ever played. I'd really be really sad if this game fell off.
Yeah, so, I agree. I'm cautiously optimistic about the devs right now. I feel like they've done a great job in the last, 4 months here with the gear rework and the box removal. I feel like they are trying to attend to the game and try to make it better. They are trying to improve it. But I feel like, as a whole, the community is too lenient when they do mess up. I feel like they don't really hold them accountable. But I feel like, on the whole, people need to understand that you are a customer when you play this game, and you should expect a certain level of respect and decency from the devs, on top of them doing their job. So when they do something you don't like, don't be afraid to speak out against it. And also, if me, as a content creator, is speaking out against it, don't flame me for having a take that's different from other content creators, because I caught so much heat about my fame take in my update review, and it was hilarious to see these people white knighting for Supercell, even though it's not a good system right now. Basically, if you hear negativity or you feel like putting out negativity about the game, as long as it's fair, don't be like, man, these guys are idiots, I don't know what they're doing, why do they have jobs? Don't be like that.
We don't want hate, we want good actual feedback,
right?
Because that's what these devs were actually really well known for, is listening to their community. But how are they going to listen to the community if no one's going to share their opinions? Right.
And at the exact same time, if you're too negative about it and you're too flaming them about it, they're not going to listen to that either. You gotta be fair about this type of stuff. All right, well, that's going to do it for this one. This is a long podcast. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for watching, whether you listen to the whole thing or just part of it. Anyway, Ro, thanks again for coming on the channel. I really appreciate every time we do these podcasts. It's always a great time talking to you.
I know, it's great fun. Lots of interesting things to talk about, especially this podcast. So I hope there's more in the future after all these new updates that I hope we have to look forward to.
For sure. We'll have to do it again sometime, man. Anyway, thanks for watching, Jam Fam. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.